Welcome to Fleet Safety Geeks. I'm Bob.
And I'm Phil, and we welcome you to our podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of Fleet Safety Geeks. I'm Bob Mossing. I'm here with Phil Mosier. Phil, how are you?
I'm doing well, Bob. How are you?
Doing good. It's been a while since it's been just you and I. We've had a couple guests on recently, which was um, made for some great episodes, but it's kind of nice to just chat with you again.
Yeah, it's always good. We've been very fortunate to have some excellent guests, Mike Pitcher, Mike Antich. I don't know if there are any more Mikes that we know, but we can look into that. But yeah, they're excellent guests and people who really are icons in the fleet industry. So they were definitely great to have them as guests.
Yeah, and it was nice having Steve Kiefer on to tell his story about his son. Um, we've had a few people that we've been able to have on, being able to tell their story and how they've committed their lives to, either ending distracted driving or impaired driving. I think we have a few more coming as well. So look forward to those. So if you like what you're seeing so far, please hit that like button and subscribe to this video series. We would really appreciate it.
Well, Bob, I know we talked about what we're going to talk about for this episode. Do you know what time it is right now, Bob? You know what time of the year it is right now?
I know it's getting colder in Cleveland. Does it have anything to do with that?
I don't know, Bob. It is the season to drive safely. Okay, I know that's hokey, but I got to tie it in with the holiday season here, right?
Of course.
And that's, I guess, what we're going to talk about this episode is safe driving around the holiday season here with Christmas and New Year's and all the other holidays that occur this time of year and all the hazards that occur as a result of it.
Yeah, no, the timing is great. We did a fall driving episode. Winter's upon us and winter brings the holidays. So we might as well talk about, safe driving in the wintertime, but also, being able to drive safe around the holiday season. A lot of things change when people are traveling for the holidays. You have to deal with weather, different drivers, holiday drivers. So there's a lot that we can talk about and give some good advice on.
Certainly is, and that's what we're trying to do, right? We always try to do, get some information out there. Maybe it will help keep some people safe when they get behind the wheel.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's just get right into the foul weather, right? I mean, with the holidays, and most parts of the country and the world, maybe others don't get as much snow, but they certainly get rain. There's probably fog, but certainly in areas where there's snow, that brings ice and really bad driving conditions. I know in your area, you're in the Northeast. I'm in Northeast Ohio. I know that I'm in the snow belt, so we measure snow sometimes in the feet, not nearly as much as Buffalo, but you know, we get instant storms that bring instant changes to the roads. How do we deal with that as drivers, regardless if it's snow, ice, or rain or fog?
One word: adjust.
Adjust, yeah.
People don't adjust their driving when the weather gets bad. And I think I mentioned it in a previous episode. I say that people get what I call seasonal driving amnesia. They forget, oh yeah, when it's snowing, I need to slow down, keep a safer following distance, and they don't do it. And I used to hate when I was on the police job working the first snowstorm because you knew there were going to be crashes everywhere because people were trying to drive the same way on that slippery surface as they do on a dry road, and it's just dumb. Slow down, increase your following distance, and you need to do that for each condition. It's just not necessarily snow, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if it gets to be heavy snow or ice, listen, there are three ways you control your vehicle: you steer, you brake, you accelerate. If you're in heavy snow or ice, you can't control any of those.
Right.
I was doing a training program once where a guy actually said, well, I grew up driving on ice. I can really handle my car on ice. I said, wow, you're a talented and gifted driver, but what's stopping the other person from hitting you? And that's the concern, right? So if there's anybody who's listening to this or watching this who handles drivers, manages drivers, got to tell them, hey, if it's bad, park it. Not worth it.
Yep.
We
actually tell that to our drivers. Remind everybody that I do manage a fleet, and we just did a driver safety presentation, and I really like that the field managers and senior managers supported the fact, if the weather's that bad, don't drive. If you're
Right.
on the road and you're away from home, don't drive home. Get a
At
hotel.
a
You
hotel.
know, we
Yep.
we support that, and it's really an important message. Making a sale or generating revenue during one day of a snowstorm doesn't make sense if
Nope.
somebody's life is at risk, or if they actually are injured or die. So we don't want that. But you're right. It's not just the snow and ice. People deal with rain and fog, especially in areas that maybe are always sunny. And you get a rainstorm that comes in. There's oils and other things on the road that mix with the rain, making it slippery. It can almost be, an icy condition.
Comparable to ice. So it's called coefficient of friction on the roadway. So basically the stopping ability of the road surface. And yeah, and you're exactly right, Bob. For about the first half hour of a rainstorm, depending on how hard it's raining, if it hasn't rained for a while, that's going to mix in with that oil and that gump on the road, and it's just you'll see actually foam coming up on the road. And when you see that, you better adjust and slow down and keep a safer following distance. Increase your distance to the vehicle in front of you for each worsening condition. And people
Mm,
don't do that. They tailgate in heavy rain and snow and things like that. And it's just, again, there's a word for that. It's dumb. I mean, it's just
yeah,
plain dumb. So don't do that. And if it's foggy, hey, if you can't see the end of your hood, why are you driving?
you're right.
You
Oh
know, and
yeah,
I
yeah. That's pretty dense fog.
Right. And the other thing, so if it's like a heavy rainstorm or fog, I'll see people pulling to the shoulder of the road. That's a mistake. What I suggest to people is like find the next exit ramp or find the next safe place where you can legally and safely park and do that and wait and say, well, you're going to wait out a fog storm? Well, would you rather crash? Again,
Right.
find a place and get a cup of coffee. I don't care. Do whatever you have to do, but you really if you can't see, you can't drive, but people do. They try to.
Yeah, if you can't see and you can't drive and you're on the side of the road, other people can't see you either. They're going to hit you.
That's exactly right. They'll see taillights over there and they'll think it's a road. They'll shift over and you become a hood ornament. So don't
Yeah.
pull onto the shoulder of the road. It's not safe.
Yep. Yep. Okay. So that's good advice. So that kind of knocks out our winter driving.
There you
But
go.
now we got the holiday driving. People are out there driving, they're shopping. Maybe they're visiting relatives. We have rushed and distracted drivers out there. How do we navigate them?
So again, realization I think is the key here. So there are demands, right? So you have family demands and maybe even work demands that you have to be at this place and that place and that place and this place. Before we came on this episode, I was telling you next week I have a pretty hectic schedule. I'm running to a number of different places next week, and my schedule is more demanding next week than it's been in a while, and it's just because of visiting people end of year, and then also because of the holidays. So, and that's all
Yeah.
work related. Then throw in family on top of that. So, and then oh, and
Sure.
let's get the shopping done. Oh, and we have to buy all the food so that we can cook that and have a nice holiday meal. So you can see where these things can really take over, and you become distracted because you're more focused on getting those things done and making those getting there on time. Listen, take a breath, step back, look at the big picture, and realize again, I don't want to crash. So stay focused on your driving. And really, it's okay to say no. It's okay to say, hey, no, I'm not going to run, 1.5 hours one way and then 2 hours back the other way so that I can see certain family members. Spread it out over some other days, and say because it's just not safe. And if people can't understand that, shame on them, you know.
Yeah.
So again, I think it's just some common sense here, but you have to realization is the key here that there are demands during the holidays, family and work demands, but you have to be realistic and do what is safe. Always err on the side of safety.
Yeah. That's good advice. And you see it all the time. I know that I'm driving around, and either I'm driving to work and I just see people driving crazy, feeling like they have to get to their destination faster. Um, and they're going to be dealing with a lot of other people. Maybe they are late for work. Maybe there is something going on,
Right.
and then you have people just driving for running errands, and they're
Right.
all mixing together. So
Yep.
um, night driving, um,
Hmm.
it's getting, it's at that point of the year where it's dark when I drive to work and it's dark when I drive home.
Yep.
So night driving, we're in it more often than over the summer.
Right.
I know I'm teaching my daughter how to drive. I think I've mentioned that on here. We've talked about a few things, and she said, "Wow, it's really hard to see at night."
Awesome.
And that's something that we should all realize, that night driving can be very dangerous. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so there are any number of reasons why night driving can be dangerous. There's glare that's created, from the headlights, and even road signs can create glare, kick back on you, and then if it's raining or if there's bad weather, wow, those lines on the road are just so easy to see. I mean, it's like, what happened to the lines? You can't see them anymore. On a lot of secondary roads, I mean, the lines kind of disappear when the road gets wet and it's nighttime. So you have to, again, just use the edge of the road as your guide sometimes, and things like that. Slow down, watch for the wildlife, okay? Because we're still we're getting towards the tail end of deer hitting season, but I mean, it's still there's still a lot of wildlife going across. So again, watch out for those reflective eyes and things like that. We covered that when we did fall driving, but it's still going on this time of year as well. And then, of course, you reduce sight distance. Don't ever overdrive your headlights. And what I mean by that is you should be able to see far enough ahead that you can react and to a situation that your headlights illuminate. Sometimes people are going so fast that by the time they see it in their headlights, it's impossible to avoid. So don't overdrive your headlights. Again, slow down, slow down. And people say, well, if I'm on a highway, and that's correct. That is correct. But really, your chances of being in a wreck are actually much greater on secondary roads than they are on highways, statistically.
Hmm.
So again, just some common sense things here. Don't slow down, and adjust for the weather again by slowing down, and especially at nighttime because you can't see.
Yeah.
You know?
So mixing all that together, the bad weather, potential bad weather, the night driving, everybody's distracted. Um, Companies or families might be throwing some holiday parties, and now we're going to mix in maybe a drink or two in there, right?
Yeah. Before we go on to that one, Bob, though, I forgot to mention clean the windshield inside and out with a nice, there's a like this invisible glass or whatever it is that you can get, but clean the windshield inside and out to reduce the glare. Okay, so now let's get to
Ah,
impairment.
that's
One of my
good
favorite
advice.
topics, Bob, as you know. So yeah, this is a big time of year for impairment, and there are a lot of parties going on, whether it be work parties, family parties, just meeting with friends, and it doesn't have to be a party. It could be a dinner with drinks, before, during, and after meals, and there's as always a lot of impairment going on, going into Christmas, and then obviously through New Year. It's just a a really bad time of year for driving while impaired. And I keep mentioning marijuana with the legalization and normalization of marijuana use. I'm afraid now there's going to be a combination of just not the alcohol, but then also marijuana. So again, don't ingest anything into your system if you're going to be driving. Be responsible. Be responsible with that. And then also, if you're the person who's hosting the dinner or the party as a corporation or as an organization, or it's just as an individual, what responsibilities do you have,
Right.
in serving those impairing substances? So, what are your responsibilities there? Maybe you want to make sure that your guests are being taken care of. They're staying home or they're staying put. Maybe everybody gets a room, or you make sure you've arranged for the designated drivers, and also as an individual, you need to make sure those arrangements are made prior to impairment. Because once you're impaired, guess what? Your judgment is also very impaired. You may think you're okay. You're not. Make the arrangements prior to the first drink. So again, just some responsibility there.
Yeah. So we were talking a little bit before this. I'm trying to find some updated statistics. National Safety Council put out some numbers. So it's a good time to review those numbers when we talk about impairment. Everything that we've talked about could cause a fatality on the road. Bad weather, um, deer, animal hits, distracted drivers, but it's particularly impairment. National Safety Council has estimated that 371 drivers, so we're in the 350 to 400 range, will die during the holiday season on the roads. That's a lot of people,
Yes.
being impacted by everything that we've talked about so far.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and every one of them preventable. Well, every
All of
one.
them are preventable,
Right.
exactly, and
Right.
all of them are going to destroy lives, right?
Yep.
So we don't want
Yeah.
that to happen. The New Year's fatality numbers that were out, even more. Um, it's important to note the 350 to 400 was over a holiday season, maybe a few days, but New Year's Day, really the night, right? New Year's Eve night, estimating that over 400 people in one night will die on our roads. So we need to, listen to this advice.
Yeah.
You need to make those plans, right? Make those plans while you're sober. Don't make bad judgments. Don't go to a holiday party saying, I'm only going to have 2 drinks over 5 hours. And then, you have more. And then you're like, well, I got to get my car home or something like that. It's all stupid. It's all preventable.
That's
Don't
right.
do it.
That's exactly right. You are exactly right. Every one of those preventable, and how many lives are affected because people make bad decisions.
Yeah. And
Terrible.
even if you didn't make the bad decision, someone else out there is
Right.
making a bad decision. I
Right.
doubt your corporation is going to hold a hookah party, where everybody's having marijuana, but
You'll know the
other
corporation, but yeah.
other people are on the road impaired with other substances other than drinks. So we need to be aware of all of it. We need to be
Yeah.
vigilant and careful and watch out for the other people. So
Exactly.
um,
If you see any sign of anybody around you that you might believe might be impaired, if you can't keep them in front of you, if they're in front of you, they can't hit you. But yeah, just get away from them. Just be very aware of other impaired drivers in your area.
And I can tell you, anybody using a phone looks like an impaired driver. Keep
They
them in
sure
front of
do.
you too. Yeah,
Ironic,
yeah,
isn't it? Yeah.
yep. All right. So holiday traffic. This
Right.
this gets to the shoppers. This gets to all the holiday travelers. Roads are going to be congested.
Yeah.
I've lived in areas where I actually live near shopping centers. I my office was like near this shopping center. I couldn't even
Yeah.
get home because so
Right.
many people were flooding. Whether it was getting their groceries or shopping for gifts. There's a lot of people on the roads during this season, and it's going to impact your life.
Right. And so again, just with more traffic, there's more risk of a crash. But then also, because of more traffic, then people start running late. And because they're running late, then they start taking chances. So again, adjust for the holiday traffic. Know that traffic's going to be congested. Build that into your schedule so then you're not feeling rushed. Okay. And then just be careful of those distracted drivers who just have, well, okay, I got this, I got that. Now I got to go over here and get this. And they're thinking of that rather than escape space driving and following distance. So, watch out for those distracted and rushed drivers who are around you, and don't be that distracted and rushed driver.
Yeah, exactly. So after the holiday traffic, then um, people are online shopping. That's still going to impact um, the roads, right? Because all those packages are getting delivered.
Right. So it's a special. There are more delivery drivers out there right now. I'm not talking about the U.S. Postal Service, UPS, FedEx, Amazon. I mean, all of those delivery vans are out there, right? And especially at night. And I mean, they're out there. I see some of these vans and even postal service vehicles. It's dark and they're still out there.
Yeah,
These people, okay, first of all, God bless them, because I'll tell you what, they're overworked, they're stressed out, they have demands on them, and they'll park like on the edge of the road. And then if you can't see to go around it safely, don't go around it. Wait, be patient. All right. And then also watch for that delivery driver because they might be coming out onto the road in front of you. So again, just be very, very careful anytime you're around any of these delivery vehicles, including the mail truck,
That's
the
right.
mail delivery.
Yeah, yeah. I would say that, some of our delivery drivers are probably some of the safest drivers on the road. They do a lot of great
They are.
training. They are,
Yep.
very strict as far as if they're involved in an accident, what happens to them. And I'll say that for some of the more seasoned delivery companies. Maybe
Right.
some of the newer ones might have some laxed rules. I've seen some strange things, but we're not going to, call them out by
No.
name. But I don't think they're the ones that are going to be causing a dangerous action. It's us just needing to be able to navigate around them because there's more of them on the road.
Correct. And there are so many out there now,
Yeah.
much more than there were just a couple of years ago.
Yep, for sure. Sure. Okay. So we're trying to wrap these up and get these done a little bit sooner time. We have one more time here. What we can do to manage our trips, right? Journey management. What can you, what kind of knowledge can you drop on us for that?
So if you're flying in somewhere and you then have to drive, you have to consider your entire day, not just driving time. Well, I was only going to be driving for 3 hours. Well, you flew on a plane for 5 hours prior to that. That creates a fatigue situation. Or if you're driving somewhere, again, make sure that you've allowed enough time to get there. Build time into your schedule for stops. Don't ever try to push through. This is a fatigue situation. And then if you do fly in somewhere also, you might get into an unfamiliar vehicle and get into a rental, and you're driving in an unfamiliar area. So again, adjust it accordingly. Slow down. Make sure that you if you have a mapping, a GPS or whatever that you're using, make sure that it's not like distracting you even more. And never try to readjust your driving directions while you're driving. If you text, tweet, or any of that stuff while you're driving, you're 23 times more likely to crash. 23 times. If you're making an adjustment in your built-in GPS or on your phone, if you're using for GPS, it's the same. It's alphanumeric. So you are distracted 23 times more likely to crash. So again, just be smart here with this. If something happens and your directions go kaflooey, that's a technical term, kaflooey, then again, find a safe and legal place to park, adjust your GPS, and then go back to driving. Okay.
And if you did fly somewhere and you're renting a car, take some time to get to know that car, know how to turn the lights on, know how
Exactly.
to use
Right.
the windshield wipers.
I see people hop into a rental car and they put in gear and just drive off. And as they're driving off, I see them adjusting their mirrors and everything. It's like, dude, you could have taken like 3 minutes and just listen. I was in a rental car earlier this week. I needed an engineering degree, an electronics engineering degree to turn on the radio. I mean, it's like these new cars, man. I miss my old just turn on the knob. Again, I'm
Yeah.
old. I get it, but man, it's just not that simple anymore.
Yeah.
So again, you're exactly right, Bob. Become familiar with it. The wipers, the lights, everything, so that and if you want to turn the radio on, okay, do that while the vehicle is safely and legally parked. Make sure that you've gotten your directions up and running prior to starting down the road.
Yeah. Yeah. The car itself can be a distraction, especially if you're not familiar
Oh,
with it. And if you're doing that while driving, you're putting yourself and others at risk for sure.
that's exactly right.
All right. Well, now that we've bummed everybody out during the holiday season, I do want to say I hope that you and your family have a great holiday season. I hope everybody out there who's listening to this or watching this on YouTube also has a great holiday season. But be safe out there. Everybody needs to be safe. This is a time to celebrate with family and to be around each other. We don't want to have anybody impacted where that's in jeopardy. But Phil, I hope that you have some great plans and can um, spend time with loved ones. We might take a little break here just during the holiday season, so I just want to say that now.
Yeah, and Bob, same to you, to you and your family. I wish you a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. And to anybody who's watching this, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and just be safe. Okay, this is a great time of year. I love this time of year. I love everything about it, except for crashes, obviously. So
Right.
don't let those things ruin an otherwise festive time of year. Just some common sense stuff here. Just be safe.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, with that, again, if you are listening on a favorite podcast platform, please feel free to subscribe to our podcast so you can be notified of future episodes. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe and be notified of future episodes as well. But with that, everybody be safe out there, and we'll talk to you soon.